Hey you all, Farmer Jesse here. Gonna give you a little bit of a farm tour today. Show you a little bit of what we've got going on for the fall garden and all those things. The good, the bad, some of it kind of ugly. And then also just some like other projects we've got going on. So, and there's the sheep. We'll go talk about them for a second too. So let's do it. All right, first things first, if you are not subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button. If you are subscribed, thanks. Here's the thing. So I don't talk about the sheep much. My buddy Josh Satin always jumps on me about it. He's like, talk about your sheep more, dude. And I'm like, well, here's the thing with the sheep. We haven't really been incorporating the sheep into the garden very much, so they don't really fit in with what I generally do videos about because they are generally not in the garden. However, we're kind of changing that a little bit. And it starts with this plot here. So this was like aster. And we mowed it and then we tarped it, and now we sowed some cover crops, just a bunch of more perennial cover crops, some annual ryegrass too, and some other things, and some cereal rye and a mix of different things, but mostly lots of clovers and that sort of thing, and some vetch. So a lot of different things in here, but to be a forage crop for the sheep, because this whole plot and that whole plot, that whole thing over there, even that weird mess there, all of that is in the springtime going to be planted to orchard. I'm not exactly sure what the plan is with the orchard yet. I'm still kind of gathering information and trying to figure out exactly what, apples and what pears and that sort of thing. We may do some figs. We can sort of get away with that in our region. And we have some like muscadines here. You can kind of see those. I love the muscadines. I have no idea if they're going to survive here. They survived last winter, but last winter was vaguely mild. And so yeah, that's kind of the plan there. This is all going to be perennial. We're also going to put some perennial strips in here. I've talked about this before in previous videos, but we're going to have strips of strawberries, and there's one up here I'll show you in a second. But this is the majority of the fall garden. We've got kale here that's doing really well. Some kale, 2 beds there, and then under that protect net up there is some Brussels sprouts and stuff. And I really like this protect net. I don't know, I've not used it before. This is the first year, and it is stupid expensive. It's basically like $110 or something to cover one 100-foot bed. But it's not like the Agribon. Like, it is way more sturdy. Can you see this? It's like, I don't even know what to call that. It's like, it's really sturdy. I mean, that's not gonna rip on you as easily like that really light Agribon. That stuff rips super easy, but this is not. I'm not as worried, so we're gonna get significantly more uses out of that. But this is the majority of the fall garden. We've got some cauliflower and broccoli. This is more for CSA. Lettuce, like I said, we're experimenting more with cardboard. So I've got cardboard there, got cardboard here, just kind of doing this as like different covers. So we dibbled in the lettuce here and just planted that right into the cardboard. So that's kind of one experimental thing. Some Napa cabbage, some mustard green, some bok choy. It's doing okay. It has been, like I said, it's just been so brutally hot that like stuff is not getting established that easily. So yeah, we're kind of dealing with that a little bit, but I mean, for the most part, the farm has been really resilient. Huge cover crop patch for next year. This is all, I talked about this in a previous video about the pathways, how we sowed those to peas and oats. So those will die and make like kind of a mulch. These will all make it over winter, except for, you can probably see, there's a little bit of residual buckwheat and millet in there. That's what, millet there. And some buckwheat and stuff, but we're probably about a month from a frost, so I'm not that concerned with it. And if it looks like it's gonna go to seed, I'll just hack it down. So yeah, this is the strawberry thing I was talking about. We've got strawberries planted here, and then this right here is peas and oats as well. So I'm hoping those will grow up and then ultimately mulch the strawberries. There's a little bit of weeds in our pathway we have to take care of, but that's generally, even that's mostly like groovy weed, and it comes up pretty easy. A little bit of grass in there, but One thing when you're overhead misting all of your lettuce all the time, it makes the pathways really hard to manage, because even when you go through and kill them, when you're misting all the time, it keeps all the stuff that you kill alive. So that's one thing about overhead misting that can be challenging with weeding, is that when you cultivate it, you really got to pull those weeds out or they'll just reestablish. These are about to flip. These are going to go into some winter cover crop. This was supposed to be spinach, but it's been so stupid hot that nothing is germinating. Let's talk a little bit about this tunnel. This, you can see, this is our lasagna bed tunnel. We had I didn't get any video of this, but this was like super tall in buckwheat and millet. But it was mostly on the edges, because I think one thing I would definitely do different, and right there in the pathway, I think one thing I would definitely do differently with this is put a thicker layer of compost before I sowed the millet and the buckwheat and stuff. So now we've just sown it to winter rye and peas, and you can kind of see an Austrian winter pea and stuff, and you can kind of see that in there maybe. Otherwise we're gonna get more barrels and hopefully have this thing full for the spring at least, but hopefully by the winter. And Jerusalem artichokes look pretty good. We love this little patch, but it has been so dry that we don't water it, we just kind of let it do its thing. So it's been so dry that, yeah, it haven't exactly thrived. We're kind of going, you know, the tunnels are getting a little bit crazy with the podcast and stuff starting back. Everything has been a little bit more jungly than usual, but I don't know, I gotta make a decision on these soon, because they're still producing pretty well, and like our peppers look pretty good. But at some point I need to start thinking about winter. So that's kind of on my mind. Oh, I want to show you all this. So Nate kind of had this idea for getting the row cover off the ground, and it sort of works. Like basically what we did was we just got some old PVC pipe that we had and stuck it on some brackets. So you can see there's like a bracket underneath here, and then slipped the PVC on top of it, and then we have it so 50 footers, 100 foot light, 100 foot heavy, and it's just kind of our way for organizing the row cover a little bit, and that I'm excited about that, because that stuff has just been in a giant pile on our floor for I don't know, basically as long as I've been farming. Here's one of the things that the heat has made really difficult is spinach germination. We have a little bit of spinach that we've started that we're gonna replace these with, but this tunnel is supposed to be all spinach. And it is not all spinach. In fact, it seems like it's a lot more grass than spinach almost. So this one has been bad. This has not been a success. However, we've got spinach coming, and that we've started in trays, and so we're gonna replace a lot of that. One thing though is how awesome, let's see if I can find one here. One thing is how awesome these fennel did. Good night, they were so beautiful. But yeah, not super happy on this spinach. And it's just, spinach is tough anyway, but the heat has made it really hard, so I'm finally getting to the point when I'm figuring it out a little bit, but it's just getting late. Fall's nice because it's a little bit more forgiving. It's hot, but you have a little bit more time to kind of redo stuff if it fails, which I don't love doing, but sometimes happens. But yeah, getting cold weather crops established in 100-degree heat is so tough. These are carrots. Talked about these in a previous video. They all look pretty good. You know, they're starting to come around. This tunnel here is full of tomatoes just like that one, but we planted those really late, so we just hope to have kind of a late tomato. And they're doing really well. I don't know if it's worth looking at them. They're definitely jungle habit as well. This is the tunnel. Like I said, we're going with the jungle pruning technique, but the idea here is everything's gonna frost and pretty much die in about a month. I'm gonna wanna flip these over so I can replant them in November, both this and the other cat tunnel. So yeah, I mean, it's doing like really well. All of these plants are doing great, but this is way easier on me to just not have to worry about the plants, let them grow like crazy, and harvest a bunch of fruit off of them. So no labor, just harvesting. It's messy, but when you're, you know, running a podcast and trying to do a million other things, it's functional. You see the house? We'll talk about that later. So you can see there's more cardboard down there. This was our winter squash / edamame plot. So lots of cardboard here, and we're basically just putting the cardboard down, holding it down with compost, letting it kind of break down a little bit. And then we'll come through here in about, I don't know, a few weeks, right before we plant garlic, and we'll actually form beds over top of this. This is just kind of a sort of cardboard occultation, also just like a weed mat to keep it down. So that's sort of the idea there. And then we've just got like a little bit of corn and soybean left, which sounds really funny to say. Have you ever, you know how we harvest edamame? This is super cool. If you've ever wanted to grow edamame, but this is over mature, but if you ever wanted to grow it and you wanted a really fast way to harvest it, you basically just start at the base of the plant and you pull upward like that, and you get all of your beans really quickly, and you just pull out like 1 or 2 leaves and you're good. So yeah, like I said, these are over mature at this point, but that's pretty fun. And you can just harvest quite a few edamame that way, super fast. So we've got all our edamame cut, all of our soybeans cut, pulled over here to dry. That'll be our soybeans for next year. Sweet potatoes look great. They're starting to come out. It's one of our best sweet potato years. The color is beautiful. We've started to pull them out, and then we're planting some cover crop into the beds. And they're, you know, we've had to pop them out. It's not, they went in no-till, they're coming out with a little till. It's the best we've found so far. We're going to try some other things to try and make our sort of impact on the soil a little bit less next year, but you know, we're trying to ask for a little forgiveness with those cover crops. Peanuts are awesome. This is super cool. Have you ever seen how a peanut grows? Let me see if I can show you. So peanuts, they create flowers, right? And they put out these little shoots, like that. And those shoots go into the soil, and on the end of those shoots are peanuts. So we hilled these up a little bit recently, probably a little later than we should have. But yeah, let's find a good one. So there you go. So that's a peanut that's on the end of a flower, in case you never knew how peanuts grew. And the cool thing about our peanuts is that they are black peanuts. And super tasty. If you've never had a fresh peanut, it is the best. Not a profitable item for us, but I don't think we'll have trouble eating boiled peanuts and roasting our own for a while. I don't know, that's kind of a roundup of what we've got going on. It's kind of my day off, so I'm gonna go enjoy it. Let me know what you've been up to. How's your fall garden coming? Ours has been pretty good, been okay. Been a little tough. Spinach thing is tough. The spinach has probably been the biggest failure, but how about you? How's your fall garden coming? Let me know. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.